guys, welcome back to Roadrunners Woodworks. Have you ever thought about using your hobby CNC mill to mill aluminum and walnut? Well, today we're going to go from this aluminum sheet and walnut chunk to this finished painted aluminum and walnut chunk. Stay tuned and I'll tell you how to do it. Welcome back to the shop. Here I'm Matthew with Roadrunners Woodworks, and today we're going over how I did this aluminum Christmas tree and walnut base on my SainSmart 6060 router. Ow, if you're seeing this video right after it's going live or within a few days, Happy New Year to you guys from my family to yours. Yes, this is a Christmas project. Yes, Christmas is before New Year's, but I can guarantee you this project was done before New Year's. But I'm a little behind on the 8 ball getting things uploaded here, so Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a great holiday season here. Ready to start 2023 with a great new thing. I know I've got several projects in tune for the shop, and it's going to be a great year, I think. Alright guys, so today I'm going to be using my 4030 XL with the 6060 extension that I've used out here on the channel several projects before. I do have the DeWalt router head on it. This did actually hurt it a little bit over the stock spindle, so I will give SainSmart credit. The stock 300 watt spindle does a little bit better with it for this project than this DeWalt router, but you can use the DeWalt router to make this project work. There's just a lot of learning curves and a lot of techniques I had to learn with it. So going here to some of the material, of course, regular walnut here, black American walnut. Really beautiful. I mean, you can see some of the grain that it's popped in there after the figure. Really great, easy thing. This machine can handle it, no big deal, especially with that 1/4 inch down 2 flute down for cut bit, 8 right through it. Now on the aluminum though, I will say there was some different mistakes made. There is definitely a lot of challenges here where the DeWalt router definitely has some down advantages. So the DeWalt router, for those of you that don't know, operates between 16,000 RPMs and about 28,000 RPMs. So it's a very high speed router, which is meant and really good and useful for wood. When it comes to cutting aluminum though, it is a lot harder and you need a lot slower speeds with slower feeds, depending on how you're using it. I did initially try that here on some of these sheets here. I did get about 5 sheets of these. This is my last whole sheet here. It took me 4 tries to get this tree cut out of the aluminum. It is definitely a lot harder than you think it is, in my opinion, but the machine can handle it. It's just a matter of just tinkering with it. Going through the next few clips here, you can see in the montage, working with this aluminum is definitely difficult with this router setup that I have. Nothing against the router itself or the CNC, it's just the learning curve that I needed. I've been running with this setup. It was an 1/8 inch end mill running about 20 to 25 inches a minute at the lowest RPM, which was about 16 to 18,000. I can't remember off the top of my head anymore, but I called it out earlier in the video. As you can see from this video, this was a T&E of a different design I was working on. You can see here's the up close shot of it. It was a different design I had where it was an interlocking tree. It works really good with aluminum or outside of aluminum with like wood or paper or cardboard, that kind of stuff. It works really cool. Just with the aluminum, I was just having a lot of issues with it. As you can see, the double-sided tape I was using wasn't sticking. That's why I had to put these clamps on, as you saw. Of course, the chip load was definitely weird, so that's why you see a lot of it kind of building up on the outside of the lines. You're kind of losing the kerf. I had to use 3-in-1 oil, which was new to me because most of the time you see WD-40 being used. I didn't have any, so that's why I used 3-in-1 oil. But as you can see here, it really cut through. The chip load was kind of weird, so that always kind of made it kind of hard and kind of made things a little bit difficult. On this one here, I'm getting it re-zeroed. This was like the 3rd or 4th sheet I've tried. I was having issues before where it wasn't cutting all the way through. It was actually re-welding on the backside. It was getting that hot. So I'm working here, getting it re-zeroed, get on a new sheet. Like I said, this is about my 3rd sheet, I believe. I got 5 in total. So I was getting kind of nervous trying to work on these, getting it done. So this is kind of my setup process of how I do this kind of stuff. If you haven't seen my previous videos, locate typically the 0 first. That way I have a good base point with that paper underneath it, so I have 2-3 thou clearance, because most of the time I'm not dealing in that accuracy. I mean, these machines can do it to a degree, but that's a really hard setup, and for most things I do, 2 or 3 thou isn't going to hurt it. So you can see here I'm getting set up, X, Y, Z, it's getting all positioned. I typically spin the bit to make sure I'm in that exact corner off of that X and Y stop, as you see that orange thing, which is really good for your CNC if you don't have one already. So in this clip here, I'm getting it finished, set up, and then the next clip here, you'll see me get it finally set up. With it being a stop motion, it's a little glitchy, so just so you know. But I'm using the 1/8 inch end mill here, still 16,000, 18,000 RPMs, but I was pushing a lot faster. I was running about 35, 40 inches a minute. And you can see here, it seems like it's cutting pretty well. Doing really good chip load. Had some added oil there to try it out. I ended up actually breaking the bit on this, as you'll see. Just trying pushing it too fast, which was a learning curve for me. All right, so this is getting the final product cut out on the second to last sheet. This one did really well. This was pushing about 50, 55 inches a minute with the Armano Tools aluminum bit, 2 flute, down cut. Really made a big difference on this. I feel like bit selection really shines here when it comes to cutting soft metals like aluminum. It did a really great job. Chip load was a lot better. It was very loud, so settings may have been a little off, but as you can tell here, it just cut a lot better. You know, seeing the final pass through on that, it just did a lot really, really well. What kind of woodworker would I be if I didn't show any woodworking in my video? So this is cutting out the slot that the aluminum is going to sit in. It's the 1/8 inch compression bit using here to get that pocket out. Worked really well, really easy on it. And then using a 2 flute down cut bit, 1/4 inch end mill here to cut out the outer profile. It didn't cut all the way out on this because of the limitation of the depth of cut on this bit. So I did have to take it to the bandsaw and get it finished out, but that's part of it. It gives you a really good guide curve here, which leaves just a little bit of meat that you can stay off of with the bandsaw to go clean up on the router table, which I knew I had to do to go get the edge profile on the top. Now, as you had seen from the previous clips here, I kept breaking bits. No matter what I tried, either I broke the bit or I was having the sheet weld itself back on the underside to the bed. As you can even see here, even still on my bed, I've got some of the burn marks from where it was welding itself in, on top of some other mistakes here, but that's what the spoil board's for. I ended up reaching out to tools today, and I did find this Armana high-speed aluminum cutting spiral 2 foot down cut bit. This is a good bit for it. It works great once I got the speeds and feeds worked out. The speed that I ended up running it and getting it to cut out in was about 16,000 RPMs at about 45 inches a minute. Really just pushing through, working on that chip load. I know a lot of people will hear that, don't really know what it is. I will do another video talking about that here in the future. But chip load is kind of where you're talking about where you want either for wood, either you want the actual chips, chunks, looking spirals, kind of like that real pretty cut off when it comes to a router versus just sawdust. Same thing when it comes to aluminum. You want a nicer chip, spiral, stringy hair versus the just chunk and just fine like metal shaving dust. That's what you really want. So using this bit with the feeds and speeds I did, it came out with the project and came out pretty well. As you can see here on this, there are a few little areas where the bit got some chatter. See if it'll show up. There it goes. It's kind of hard to paint. That's the nice thing about painting, guys. It does hide a lot of your imperfections. There was some bit chatter that caused some weird imperfections on it, but that's part of the learning curve of it, of using aluminum on a CNC router. But it handled it no problem once I figured out the feeds and speeds, and there's always room for dialing it in. Thanks again for tuning into today's video. I know making this tree was really a lot of fun and really cool. Do appreciate all you guys that hang around and watch our videos. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you really got something out of this video or have some tweaks for me. I always do appreciate the comments and learning more from you guys. Because as a maker community, we always help each other, build each other up. So I do appreciate it. Definitely stay tuned here to the channel coming in 2023. We definitely have a lot of really cool projects coming in the works. Maybe even a new CNC. You guys want to check that out? Got a review coming up for a new SainSmart 4040. For those of you that are interested, stay tuned, and we'll definitely have more of those coming up shortly. So, Happy New Year from my family viewers. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really do appreciate it. Have a good one.